Hi, it's Lori Inspires of momsdon'tquit.org. In this video, I'm sharing with you the requirement to opt your child out of the public or private school system to homeschooling legally. I reside in New York City, and although every state has its own regulations, most require the same document that must be filled out. That form of document is the letter of intent to homeschool. It's a form used to notify the Department of Education that a child will be homeschooled. At any time, a parent can make that decision. The letter of intent should be submitted at least 14 days before homeschooling your child in New York City. Other states are 30 days. So for your state, regulations, refer to your state's Board of Education website and search homeschool for more information. In New York City, you do not need to inform the school of your decision to homeschooling. Simply submit the letter of intent in the time required and begin homeschooling. You also do not need to explain to the school why you're making that decision. You do not need to wait for a response from the district in New York City either, okay? But to confirm the statements I am making, please use the resources in the description that I will be sharing below this video for guidance, and or refer to your state Board of Education website for support. The letter of intent form should be in the state's Board of Education website, along with the email to submit it to and or the address of the office to send it. In some states, you will be able to fill out an e-form and send it that way. I am now going to turn my phone around and show you how to find the form and what it looks like. Let's get into it. Hi, it's Lori Inspires with momsdon'tquit.org, and in this video I am going to show you how to find your state's letter of intent to homeschool. It will be in your state's Board of Education website. I reside in New York City, and that is where I found an uploaded PDF form for me to download of the letter of intent. So what I did was, at first, to be honest, I didn't know my state's Board of Education website. So I Google searched New York City Board of Education website. So I said New York City Board of Education, right? And then I found that New York City's Board of Education website is schools.nyc.gov. I selected it, and then there is a search bar in the website, and I typed in homeschooling for more information about homeschooling. So it gives me an email to send any document, right, or to request information regarding homeschool. Now, if we scroll down, there's also the contact information for homeschooling in New York City. They're also giving me another email to actually submit the letter of intent. It's important that we save this information. So the letter of intent should be submitted to the email letterofintent@schools.newyorkcity.gov.nyc.gov. And for general inquiries and document submission, it would be to homeschool@schools.nyc.gov. If you reside in New York City and you plan to homeschool, just simply go to schools.nyc.gov and research homeschool for this information. The director for New York City Office of Homeschool is William Harrington. All right, so we do have some support, people that we can contact in our district for homeschooling. All right, so here, as I scroll down, they actually, in the New York City Board of Education website, they do provide all the forms that we will need to submit for the school year. Okay, so I'm going to continue to scroll down. It's important that you also read the Commissioner's Regulation Part 100.10 on the homeschooling regulations. The letter of intent school year 2021 to 2022 document has been posted, and this is what it looks like. Selecting English, going to download it, and this is what it looks like. It's a very basic form. You actually can write one out yourself if you prefer, but I prefer to use whatever forms they recommend or that they have, just so that there's no issues. So this is the exact form that I use to submit the letter of intent to homeschool here in New York City. I've simply put my child's name, the address. You don't have to put the student ID, but I did. I put my information, which is me being the parent, right? Legal guardian. Most recent public school my child attended. I signed it. I dated it. And that was it. That was it. Now I have 2 children, so I use the second form to provide the second child's first name, last name, date of birth, and student ID. So it's really 1 form for 1 child. It's 2 forms if you have 2 children, which is just an extension just so you can add the second child's or the other children's name if they attended the same school and have the same address, right? So this is it. This is the letter of intent. Now in New York City, we have to send this letter in 14 days before we plan to homeschool while our child is in school, right? So we send this in, and in 14 days, then we can remove our child from school. Like the child can stop going to school. Okay. You will get an email once you submit this. You will get an email that they received it. They will let you know that they received it, and you will be able to, within the 14 days, remove your child from the school without giving the school any explanation. If you choose not to, you don't have to explain yourself to why you're making this choice, or even explain or even let the school know. With this letter, the district will inform the school that your child has transitioned to homeschooling. There are several forms that you will need to submit throughout the year, and I'll show you what those look like, at least the ones here in New York City. Then the next form would be, they're going to ask you to submit the IHIP. It's the Individualized Home Instruction Plan. It's 2 forms with all the subjects that we are required in New York City to teach our children. Now we create our own curriculum, but we still have to teach these subjects. So they're just asking for the curriculum materials, the textbook, or how we plan to instruct, right, this subject. So I am using IXL.com. And so I could have simply put in here for arithmetic, for example, IXL.com. That's it, right? Because it just says curriculum materials, textbook, or plan of instruction. In another video, I'll show you how I filled it out, and it was approved. You can use that, you can copy that, or you can use it just as a, as an example. If you are not in New York City, you would follow the same instructions to find your state's letter of intent. And that would be, for example, if you live in Georgia, for example, what I would do is I would type in, if I lived in Georgia, I would say Georgia letter of intent, right? Or Georgia Board of Education website. So here I found the website by simply by Googling Georgia letter of intent. And it took me to this website that says GADOE.org. That's Georgia Department of Education.org. I assume that is Georgia's Board of Education website. Okay. And so because I was specific, it actually took me directly to the page of the form that I should fill out, the letter of intent form. This one's pretty cool because this one's, I can fill it out online. So I don't have to print it out and then submit it. I actually can fill out the letter of intent in Georgia, for Georgia, right off of the website. Make sure that you read the requirements. So that's all for this video. I encourage you to follow me for more videos like this. I will be sharing some of the workbooks that my children are using, and the apps that is helping me help my children, and pretty much, just give you some tips on how we're getting through our first year of homeschooling. So if you found this helpful, please like and share this video to another family that can benefit from this video as well.